Titala, Kosmokalip, and welcome everyone to the What She Said Thaleiluch Out podcast. We're really breaking new ground here for ourselves and kind of jumping into the stream of podcasts. The genre here that we're looking to bring voice to is conversational podcast, and I'm super thrilled to have our very first guest, Joanne, with us today. Alta Chomantalat, Lead Chiam Kwalstat. I'm Chomantalat, and I come from the Victor family and the Monroe family in Rosedale. I live in Chiam, and I'm kind of anxious to get going here with Joanne. So, Joanne, if you could introduce yourself as well.
Kwasai. Sukwame Atelskwi. Talitza Kwas Gokel. Casta Stehalis. Casta Samath. Casta Musquim. I'm just really honored to be here today to share some space and to expand on what it means to be a Stalo lady.
Awesome.
And I feel like in my heart that we need to call the ancestors to come and sit with us, even though this is a space that's getting pre-recorded. I still feel like we still could do a little bit of that. So,
for sure.
And in our way, if we have a prayer, it kind of sets the tone and brings those ancestors in to support the work that this organization is trying to do. And so I don't know if you want to say a prayer or do you want me to?
I could share a prayer.
Okay.
Sure. We'll use our halkamelam. Titala wa sweel. Cha kwasuta le seal yalla khwasi tamilk. He was sals me tomst. Me to jo. Le calls it lamb. Sas scripted a tlachwalalt. See alla khwali. See chichal see Equastas. Just calling on that sacred medicine from our long, long ago ancestors and our recent ancestors and our good creator. A little bit of assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really, we, the Thaleiluch Out ladies, beginning to gather together, finding ways to be together, learn together, and growth opportunities, inside, outside, cultural gatherings and self-care gatherings, and in those experiences, finding new faces coming to the table. But what we really have are opportunities for continuance of what has held us and our people strong for generations. And I love the way you introduced yourself. You casted and you casted and you casted and honored all the places where your Sialachwas come from, your ancestors. Casta acknowledges your roots. I feel like the learning of our language is a bit of a vulnerable place, and we're kind of babies in that. Are you yourself on a language journey?
I am. It's like it took me many moons to feel comfortable at being at this baby stage because I had the oldest mentality of trying to be a perfectionist and realizing, no, when you're first learning something, it's good to make mistakes, fumble, because if you don't have those experiences, you don't learn how to be fluent. And my goal is to be fluent. So
Cool.
trying to, well, I guess I'm doing more than trying. I'm taking the language and trying to teach little ways that I can to support reviving, I guess, almost, if that's a good word to use. Some people would say, well, we're not even there to that place yet where we're reviving. We're just introducing mostly, right? But we're getting to a place where we're learning to speak fluent and just have conversations in a place where people can mess up and not worry about, hey, you're saying that wrong. So I enjoy spending time with Stalo Shwili and the instructors there, and they support us so much. Just take those baby steps.
Yeah. Baby steps. In our community of learners, I find baby steps do sometimes include teaching.
Right.
And I'm excited to hear that you're teaching. I think you're a natural teacher. But how do you pick up what, like the little bit that we manage to pick up and then get comfortable turning around and sharing it?
I guess I try not to think about it because I come from the Point family and there's lots of educators. And so as the oldest granddaughter, I'm kind of expected to share what knowledge was given to me. And I think that's a responsibility for all of our people, is whatever you learn, you can't hold. Because we had to hold so many things for so long, trying to obey the colonizers in a way that things almost got constrained to death, right? And so we're taught, pass it on, even if it's just a little bit. What you have to offer is more than what they started with. And that's how I feel when people teach me, is, taking time to share a little bit of you, because the spirit of the language is working through them to give to you, right? And anytime you share time with spirit, is a blessing, right? And so I feel sometimes I have to tell the students, like, I don't remember how to say that, but I'm going to come back next time and I'll have that for you. I'll do my best to research and know that it's tiny steps, right?
Awesome. The learners, and I do a little bit of teaching myself, and the learners keep us accountable.
Right.
I feel that's an important part of it. Sequamia, it's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And I heard you once speak to the connection between the name and being an eldest granddaughter, eldest in a generation. The term that I learned in Halkomelem is Saltlat, the oldest sibling. And I know you have many siblings, but you're also a mother. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey in finding your own growth opportunities as a mother. Right. So often we move event to event with our children, but at a certain point, we have to take account for where our own growth is. And I've known you for a few short years, and just witnessed so much growth over the years. Was there a turning point or a moment where you decided things were going to change, or had they just gone gradually over the years?
I feel like because my mom was raised the oldest as well, that the responsibility to look after my three siblings was a natural fit to turning into, how do I want to be a mother, and where will I pick up where my mom and dad, what the gifts that they gave us, what did they miss from it all? Because we all miss something along the way, because we're all trying to break the cycles of colonization, residential school, 60 scoop, and we're doing the best we can. So I feel like I got married really young, and it was supported me that I wasn't going to have children right away. I was 18 when I got married and 21 when I had our first.
Wow.
And so because of my own healing, I felt like my first child, which happens to be a son, had to be this picture-perfect kid, because, you know, I came from an upbringing that I wasn't necessarily proud of. I felt like we weren't good enough. I felt like, you know, there was a comparison to the outside world to how we lived. Yet it took me decades to realize, no, the way we were raised, what we were offered through the land, through the swiwas, the teachings, from my mom, from the longhouse, from my dad's side, the things that he could pass to us, the strengths that we gained, I realized I needed to start giving those to my children. It wasn't about what shoes you wore. It wasn't about the school that you attend. It wasn't about any of that, other than how to be a good person in the whole center of you. Like, that's all you want to do is serve and do good work. So I was really fortunate to meet Ralph. And I think the ancestors work in mysterious ways, because...
And Ralph is who?
He's my swakith.
Oh, your swakith, your husband.
My husband. Okay. For 40 years we've been married.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And we're the first ones in the valley to get married by the masks at the old Kokalitsa longhouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like in generations or in the generation?
Back here in the valley,
yeah.
No one really used the sacred ceremony. And so I feel so proud about that. Like, we're still married too. We're not the couple that got married and then didn't have the energy to keep it going, right? And so, 40 years. And
lots of work.
It's not just, hey, get married and you know, live happily ever after. Especially because I came to the table, or came to the relationship with so much trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, and then my own internal struggles around my image, and so a lot of healing through that. And so he had the strength to stay with me, to support me through these imperfections that I realized that made up who I am today. And without those, you know, without those experiences, even though they were struggles and painful, I wouldn't have the strength to carry on and do some of the work that I do, along with my team at Quigglestom, and just know that we're doing things in the best way we can. And it's same with our family, right? You know, I learned from my oldest that, hey, kids don't just get propped up and dressed up and you know, say this, now say that. They're their own individual, and their journey through life with you is such a short time. So all the things that you can offer them in a basket that they can take and hopefully plant within their own children, because now it's in their heart to carry. that's what I hope to see with my grandkids, and I do. And I get proud that I'm like, wow, that's something that your grandpa and I taught your dad. And so
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then I see that with our nieces and nephews, with all my first cousins and my sister's kids. And so I see that within our family, the Point family. My grandma, she carried this history for so long. Mm-hmm. And then when she was rejected from the church, she decided to turn to what would be our ways. And she held and made sure that each of her children had something to pass on to their children about who we were as Stalo people. And so our family takes that very seriously. We try to support other people in the valley, mm-hmm. other communities, families, connected in all different ways, from Musqueam all the way up to past Hope, mm-hmm. Boothroyd. And so just trying to maintain that and give back to what the ancestors gave us, and just same teachings. You don't hold on to what you've been shared. Mm-hmm. You give it back.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Listening to you share about your husband, about his his commitment to you, and what you would call an imperfection. I really feel like we the women can find a way to make those so-called imperfections into the best humor.
Exactly.
And really be honest, like to be honest with one another. Say the difficult things mm-hmm. with this wicked twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's really wicked.
It's painful. But okay.
Sometimes it's painful. But these things come out, yeah. They come out. And that's healthy, right? And I'm certainly not saying that the circle and the cycles of all the humor are healthy. But I feel as though when it's kind of coming out, the stuff that's coming out, you can let it go. Mm-hmm.
It's the message behind the humor mm-hmm. that stays, right? Yeah. And I think that's part of even reflecting back on my life. I think I was raised in Stalo territory. I grew up in Lummi, because we lived in Lummi for 10 years. I was 18 when I moved there.
When you married?
When I first got married.
Wow.
And so I was able to learn from the elders and the wives there what it takes to be a wife. And then because we had speakers, and at the time I was young. I didn't realize the work that my mom put into having key people there to share. We've been married for 70 years, 60 years, 50 years. And so having those kinds of mentors really supported how I was able to seek. And sometimes, like you said, you're not even seeking, but for some reason, the elders feel like I can take some time with you and teach you about that, and not feel like the words are falling on deaf ears. It's like, oh, you come from this family. You should be able to listen. You should be able to sit. You should be able, next time I see you, I should be able to see you trying to do those teachings.
Mm-hmm. Incremental learning.
Right.
Visible progress.
Because I knew a lot about how my mom was a wife to my dad. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like she was very old-fashioned, mm-hmm. which at the time I thought was like, I want to be independent, and I'm going to hyphenate my name, and that's what it means to be an independent woman and wife. But
it was cutting edge.
Yeah, and then And it didn't really mean anything when it comes to the value of the relationship and value to any relationship. What you bring to a relationship is your entire self, and that trust starts with you. And because of my hardships growing up, not the discipline that my mom and dad gave me, but the people that came and harmed while they were gone, I was, felt like I wasn't good enough. And I had to prove all the time that I'm good enough, even though I wasn't feeling good enough inside. I don't know if that makes sense. So by the time I went to Lummi, they were the older ladies that were married for a longer time. I was fortunate Ralph married into a family that they were a lot of good friends to his mom. A lot of the Lummi ladies were good friends to his mom. And so when I came in, because Ralph was oldest as well, they just kind of nurtured me. Nice. And took care of me and shared with me, things that I wouldn't have thought if my mom had shared that with me. I would have thought that's old-fashioned. So, and really it isn't about old-fashioned or contemporary fashion. It's just about what you bring and what you can offer to a relationship that kind of flourishes it. And so one of the things that I know, or a lot of things that my mom brought to this world, and she's not here anymore, is she spoke a lot about love. And then comes grace, and then comes compassion, and then comes understanding. And so when I think about her, I try to bring that into wherever the space that I go. And so you mentioned that you're part of a key central organization within the Huamuk community, within the Stalo community, Quiquostam. Where, how many years into Quiquostam since it formed? And someone like yourself who's from within the community, not an external factor, right. Not an executive director from another community or a settler family, but somebody who was born and raised in the community, multiple communities, Casta, many. Right. And you're guided by what it sounds like. You're guided by the values and the principles that you were raised with in running a business, not a business, but like an organization, managing an organization with those values. I'm super curious, like how and when those values can guide an organization. So often our organizations are guided by inherited, value statements, cut and paste. Right. Cut and paste from somebody else's value statement, but something like this Quiquostam, this justice for our people type of organization needs a particular set of values that actually come from the people. And so it sounds, I guess what I'm saying is it comes around as it's formed into what it is today. And for those of us who are unfamiliar with how one might use those values and principles to guide an organization, are you open to sharing a bit about that? Oh, yeah, for sure. My work there is all about our Stalo value system. And so using the family system that we had supported how we looked at our young people, how we took care of our elders, and what the generation that worked, how they interacted with the whole family, right? So I feel like how I was raised to look after, partake, listen, grace, love, supported, and just kind of melted into my day-to-day work at Kugelstone, which is, in loose words, and like our elders always say, nothing's translated to be exact in English because we didn't talk that way. Mm-hmm. We talked in fluid and grace, right? And so it's hard to pinpoint exactly what Kugelstone. People like to say it indicates justice because we support people through the justice system.
Okay.
But when you break down Kugelstone, it actually means living in harmony, bringing people to harmony, because that's how we lived amongst each other. And we didn't have this huge system that, you know, people identified as police and as, maybe we did, but they weren't doing the jobs as our police would be today. Mm. And so it was up to the family to look after their family members. So we put that role back into the system that we already lived many centuries ago, but still built into us, right? We can still give breath to it and practice it, and it's a natural shoe fit, if I can say. So it's easy for me to look after you because I know the connection you have with Auntie Amy, and so you're an extension of her. So I'd want to look after what. If you were in a bad way, I would want to look after you. I'd want to know that how can we help you get through this, right? What can you do for yourself to make sure that you get out of this? It's not us deciding for you. It's us supporting you. And so all of our families are so connected, and we're so connected to the land. We're so connected to our laws. Even if you feel like you may not know them, your DNA knows them. Mm-hmm. Mm. So we practice that. We give back the roles to the elders, so the elders influence how we conduct and how we carry ourselves. And if we need a little bit of correction and guidance in a way that would bring us back to the path, they're there. They're our law. Yeah. They're the last word. And so giving that back, because that's something that was taken away from us. And so when we come to a circle, we make sure that there's elders there. We make sure that the support of a family is there, that an individual isn't there on their own, that they can actually come and have their family and hear from their family the love that they have for the individual so that they can be successful in wherever they're trying to go. And it doesn't necessarily just mean with the law or addiction or healing through violence. It's about what do you need right now, and how can we get you to a place where eventually where do you want to go? And so when we're not there to see and hear if they're doing everything that they can to honor their own word of what their healing is, their family is. So uncle can say, hey, remember when we were in the circle, you shared you didn't want to drink anymore, and last night I drove by and I saw your car was at our other cousin's house, who we know to be where they use. They can call them on that. Maybe we should have another circle. And so that person already automatically feels supported by not just by, the letter of the law of a system that's not ours, but by our own laws and our own traditions and our own values. Because those people that influence you actually influence you for their entire life. So my mom influenced me, even though she's gone to the other side, she's still influencing me. She left enough words in my heart that I would continue to try to share them, try to connect with people in the same way that she did.
Beautiful.
Right? And so that's in all of us. If you look at your grandma, if she shared something with you, you would be like, oh, okay, I'll try my best to do that. Even if you slip up, our elders still love you like you were doing it the right way, because it's not about being perfect. It's about trying. And one of our late elders always said, we're all good people trying to make our way in a world that's changed so much.
Right.
That
Still
we're
changing.
Still changing.
So fast.
Evolving. And our young people are evolving and they're making their way to that healing space. And so if we're not catching up to them, if we're not meeting the gap, we're going to lose a lot of our who we are and where we come from, right?
I see a gap, even between myself and people 5 or 10 years younger. Not just the lingo, not just the words that they're using.
Jargon.
The jargon. We've got to keep up to the jargon.
And the dance.
And the dance moves. But the gap of their confidence, right? And to witness within a short amount of time young people making our culture, like the stilum, making the song, and the Squailach, the dance, making the song and the dance, pop culture.
Right.
The kids are
jamming out. Right. And that's healthy.
And then, what I love to see is that they're not just doing that in sacred space. They're doing that everywhere. I saw kids in the parking lot just singing and dancing while they were waiting for their parents.
Yeah.
It's like turning into mainstream every day.
They're honoring their shvuli. And
it's not stifled.
It's not stifled, and it's not just at the longhouse or just at this birthday party.
Right.
You have to live and breathe it all the time. It's even with the language that we're sharing. For the longest time, I thought, language is hard, and we won't be able to learn it, and we won't be able to implement it with what I do. And my dad always says, no, all of you have to learn the language. We all need to bring it back.
You know what I find, and I've heard your dad say that many times, and it's always motivating because he means it every time.
Yeah.
Stand up in front of the people, put himself in that learning space. He's always got new terms and new words over the years. You can visibly see him learning. This is the kind of example that we need, and to take those little bits that we know kind of makes me think of the passions that we already do have, right? I personally very passionate about plants, and so a lot of my learning is geared towards understanding plants and breaking those little words down into the meanings, and then kind of stringing them back together. What is this plant telling us about who it is, or what our connections are? Things like that. So if you could learn, like the language is rich with so many kinds of pockets of learning. Yeah. Is there one in particular that you're interested in outside of like work related and day to day?
Day to day, I think the laws. I'm just like expanding on our shvivas, our stories, because they all bring back how to be.
Right.
Right. And so I know other people may think of laws like, the bylaws or the regulation. And I'm like, no, we had such simple ways there were one words that expanded, just like what you're saying, the connection to everything. Plant nation, animal nation, sky nation. It all connects to how we're supposed to be within it, right? We're all beings trying to share space. And if we can't do it within ourselves, and we can't do it within animal nation and plant nation and human nation, it becomes a world where we're not connected.
It's bumpy. It's very bumpy.
It's very bumpy, and feels like you're isolated. right? And really
that disconnection.
And we mastered disconnection. We've mastered pain, and now it's time to really look within and on the outside of us, how connected we really are to one another. And yeah, it's amazing once you take the space to actually connect, right? We got the water. We're named after, Stalo people, the river, right? That's our life. It gives us life. We stay alive because of the river, right? We get our food from the river. We honor the river. We paddle the river. We travel through the river. It gives us so much. And that thank you and gratitude is passed on, right?
It can really, sometimes it feels like it can never be enough for all that is so graciously provided. It's like how deeply grateful can we be, and then how much deeper can that gratitude be?
Right.
And those things are connections too. I think of how important ceremony is, but also like a personal connection to a place or to an action is also a ceremony.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We're always in ceremony, right? If you can't behave like you're in ceremony, how are you behaving, right? And so if you can always be in that space of okay, I'm here, Creator. I'm here, ancestors. What do you need? I'm just an extension of you.
Authentically. The raw, the ruckus, the sour, the whole,
The imperfections are really what we're here for, right? We're here to learn. We're here to remember that one day we're getting closer and closer to the people on the other side, where they live free.
That's a really tender way of describing growing older.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I look forward to. And I try to live in the best way I can, so that if I have to come back and experience this humanness, that I'm farther than when I first came through this door of, you're here, you arrived, are you ready for your contract that you need to complete, right? And I'm like, I'm doing my best to never have to come back here, but I'll be able to just, coach on the other side and say,
beautiful.
You got this, you're going to get there.
Yeah, that good ancestor. Yeah. Doing your best.
Right?
Yeah. I love that. Do you want to be my ancestor someday?
Oh, I do. I'll be like, Carrie. No.
Call me a laugh. I need a good laugh.
I'll be like, here you go.
And help me with this work I'm doing. Please, please, please.
And I will be there.
Amazing. You've been super generous with your understandings, your siwis, your suwayas, your snowayas. Yeah. The way I understand snowayas is that it's got this root. The root of the word is about what's inside, and the wayas part is really about the way. The way of the good inside. And so when we really put that inside of ourselves, that good inside, not only does it help like repel the stuff that's trying to come. But it's like a magnet from all those other places and those other people to come and help us a little bit. And I feel that with you, and you wouldn't ever say, "This is Joanne speaking."
Nope.
You're tuning in. You're not afraid to go there.
No.
Right?
Not on the daily.
And that's a beautiful thing, It takes practice.
Yes.
Yeah, to get past the point where you feel authentic in that.
Right.
But you do, and that draw is beautiful, and we appreciate you and your time. Thank you for making time to sit with us. This is the beginning of our podcast, baby. This is our podcast, baby. What she said.
Yeah.
So far, that's our working title.
Auntie said.
Oh, no. Grandma John said. But I just wanted to share that we absolutely loved having you.
Oh.
And, your may your words travel well through the virtual space and with others.
And beyond.
And beyond.
Right.
Is there anything you want to leave us with today?
I just want the young people to know that the space that the ancestors left us to expand, to be the singers, to wear who we are and what we come from on the daily without any shame, our earrings, our regalia, our clothing. Keep doing it. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep showing up for the ones that left, that couldn't. And that work can never stop. But each time you share something that was shared with you is a guarantee that will keep on living through whatever the Creator has in mind for us. And we've survived and thrived through so much. And each of us have a responsibility, but each of us are entitled. We are privileged people. It's time for us to own that privilege. We own this land. We own this water as far as the settlers go. I mean, we could never say that as far as our own people. They would never feel like we own anything. But we take care of it, right? And if we don't take care of it, the caretakers of it first will take care of it, how we're taught. And a lot of times that's forgotten, right? With leadership. I want the young people to carry on and just keep owning the space. Keep sharing that this is where I would do this. This is where our people would do this. I don't care if it's a parking lot. I don't care if it's the bus stop or the church. It's our space to be who we are, to just be, right? So keep showing up. And if you have hard times, reach out. There's lots of supports out there now. There's not one thing that's shameful to reach out for. Knowledge is right there for you to take. Practice reaching your hand out so that you can help others, but also ask for help. So if you can do that and learn to practice, I need help, or I want to help you, then it will become easier to live in this world that's changed so much over the years. That's my only wish for the young people.
Beautiful, though. Well, I think we're pretty close to wrapping up for our show here.
Holy, that went
Time flies.
Flies, right?
Yeah. Lots to take away, lots to chew on, lots to consider. For myself as well. I'm a mother. I'm a community member. I'm a human being. I'm hualmuch, and I'm just grateful. So, if you're good, I'm
A.
Good. Are you A?
Setzel A.
Setzel A. Awesome. Well, thank you to those who've taken the time to join us this evening. It's evening here, and we hope you're well and continue to take care. Yasu kasai teswalap.